Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hey, this is Sergeant's Talk TV. I have to show it, the new swag.
That is a good looking shirt.
And yours is going to be in the mail tomorrow morning. So hopefully it'll get to you before you take off and go to Tennessee. So I'm hoping it's going to your house. So let's just hope.
Looking forward
Anyway,
to
guys,
it.
hey, tonight we're going to be talking about military transition to civilian life. This will be our first part. We'll have a second part. We'll talk about our experiences when we transitioned out of the military and everything you can look forward to. And a lot of you guys can relate to that. But that will be, I think that we'll be at 10 Killer on Thursday, so we'll be here on Wednesday before the 10 Killer meetup. And you guys don't get back until when?
From Tennessee.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know. Right now it's looking like we might go from Tennessee right to 10 Killer, or we'll be able to be home for a couple days before 10 Killer and go, because we're showing up to 10 Killer on Thursday.
So are we.
Yeah.
So we may postpone Sergeant's Talk TV until we get to 10 Killer. And we'll do a Thursday special. We'll probably make a lot of people mad, but we'll work it out. But
yeah,
I just don't want you to be rushed and stuff like that. I know we'll do some while you're up there over there in Tennessee, but that's what we're going to talk about. Transition, and we're going to talk about the main part of it is the top 10 states that offer the best benefits. Now, this doesn't mean you're tax exempt and you're the cost of living. These are just pure benefits that the state offers veterans. Okay. And we're going to give you the top 10 of them tonight. So get all that other stuff out of your head about what about the taxes? What about this? What about the cost of living? Food prices? Does the state have tax-free? Like Oklahoma's, they just signed a thing where, there's not going to be no tax on food in the state of Oklahoma. Texas already does that right now. Every time Terry goes down there, she picks up as much food as she can because it's tax-free down in Texas. So, but that's what we're going to talk about, guys. But first, we're going to say hello to everybody in the chat. This is my battle buddy here, Jason. He's over in Arkansas. He is one part of. Tell me who your channel is.
TV.
Yes, sir. No, I'm talking about your better half.
Oh, the box lady.
Yeah.
Oh,
White
we
Rock
do this little
Nation.
thing. We're like homesteaders, and we named it White Rock, and we do all this gardening and building stuff. But it's just a little thing. Nobody watches it.
There you go. Hey, so who we got in chat there, Jason?
So I am seeing first up came in was Joe Fix It for you.
All right.
All the way over there in Georgia, and my fellow Marine brother Piggy Piddles.
Piggy Piddle. I see TNT Adventures. There's Tracy.
And there's Miss Lila Newton. Always glad having you in here.
Cookie's in here. There's Ken at Lone Cowboy Adventure. I'm about to say Lone Star again. Lone Cowboy Adventures. There you go. All right. Hey, there's MT Homestead. My better half's in here.
I'm seeing Randall from Gypsy Trails is in. Hey, Randall.
There's Bobby at Petit Jean
River Homestead.
Homestead, yeah. I get that thing mixed up all the time. I'm sorry, Bobby.
We got
Angie. Angie. Our favorite VA nurse is in here.
She's the goodest.
Yes. There is Tish at No Judgment Here with Tish Ross.
And we've got Debbie Drock. She made it in.
There's Dawn, my favorite female Marine at Hat Creek Homestead.
And I see Webb has made it in. Welcome,
All right.
welcome.
I think
So there's a new name. I haven't seen this one before. A Tracy Michael.
Tracy Michael? You don't know Tracy Michael?
Nope.
Oh,
Just learned today.
You got to meet her. She's awesome. She's awesome. Tracy, you need to go over there to White Rock Homestead. That's an awesome channel. All right.
Now I'll say that, and then I'll find out she probably watches and comments, and Tara does all the comments, and she'll be like, "Yeah, I talk to her all the time." So who knows? But
you know, Gypsy Trail. I was at David's, and he was over at Blue Mountain Lake. I didn't even know that, and I could have gone over there and said hello to him.
yeah, he actually. So he had called me. We were talking because he wanted to make a swing over here to Arkansas, and he was in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And then he was like, because he was coming all the way from the West Coast. And I said, hey, I don't know, like if there's, free camping. I mean, I find discounted ones, but, and then I told him, I said, hey, if you're going to be around for meetups coming up, you're right in the perfect area. Like check out Blue Mountain Lake. And yeah, he stayed there, and he's actually staying at a pretty awesome place now. So, I see
Glenda in here from Grace and Fire. I've got your T-shirt. It's going to be mailed out tomorrow, Glenda, for being our first guest on our show. So I'm going to send that out to you. There's Jason Shaw, Sean, man, Sean. You got to put on the old man glasses, man. I can't see.
I was going to say, I was trying to find it to see what, like somebody had said something, and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh. So
he's saying howdy, guys, from Western Kentucky. There you go. U.S. Navy vet. All right. Yep. Blue Mountain Lake is awesome. Yes. All right, so guys, we're going to get into this. Again, these are the top 10 states when it comes to pure benefits that the state offers. It can be in education. It can be in housing benefits, employment benefits, financial assistance, recreational benefits, and some different additional benefits that each state offers or they don't offer. But the website is for the link where we got all this information is in the about. So if your state is not in the top 10 according to VA Claims Insider, then you can go there and hit that link and then go there and find your state and see what your state offers you. Now, this does not include what your county, your city, or anything like that offers you and stuff like that. So, but we're going to give you that. And the first one we're going to start off with, my partner's going to start off with, okay, Pennsylvania. There you go. All right.
Good old PA.
That's right.
Know a few people living up in that way. And yeah, so, and guys, just be prepared. You're going to be a little shocked at some of these states and what comes on. And the link that's down in the description obviously gives you a state by state. So if you wanted to look up more, make sure you check it out. We're going to run through.
Pennsylvania comes in at number 10.
It is number 10, guys. We're going to start at the bottom, and then you got to stick around to figure out what the number one state is.
Yep.
So yeah, the big thing I'll hit real quick, kind of what we're looking at, guys, and this is what they're basing it off from. There's housing benefits, there's education benefits, employment benefits, financial assistance, recreational benefits, and then they always have a little additional Um, For sake of time and not boring you already and making you click out, like we're not going to read this word for word. We're going to pick out the big things. So we'll start with the housing, right? Pennsylvania has 6 VA homes across the state to provide care for the veterans and their spouses.
Yep.
With eligibility based on the ability to pay. So that's one, honestly, I think that's the first time I've personally seen it where it offered it for the spouse also.
Yeah,
maybe
it is.
Standard, but normally the veteran gets it, but not the spouse. So
well, the veteran gets it when the spouse is tired of taking care of them and ships them off to the old soldiers' home.
The adult daycare is kind of how I've heard of it referred to. Is they're done dealing with us and they're like, just go sit in that corner, drool and color.
Yep.
So they offer a property tax exemption for veterans with 100% service-connected disability and a wartime service.
Yep.
And, so I'm not sure. I know, like, for us, the exemption means maybe you get a reduction or it means you're totally exempt. Depends on how they word it and what things you're exempt from.
Yeah.
And kind of cool, bouncing off last week, right? They'll offer up $500 per term for children of veterans.
Yep.
And there's, let's see, employment. I think most states are going to offer the employment through state civil service jobs and income tax, right? So if you retired, you're still getting your military pay. The pay and survivor benefit plan payments are exempt from state income tax.
Yes.
So still going to pay the federal. Washington's got to keep their pockets full. So, but the state says we'll give you a break.
Yep.
And then, of course, near and dear, right? Hunting and fishing licenses. Really? That's what we're all here for. Where can I get a free hunting license? Disabled veterans and those with a 60 to 99% rating can receive free or discounted licenses.
Yep.
And that, based on your state, I don't know what Pennsylvania's is normally, but to get a discount on some of those, I know when I was in Michigan, it was every year I had to pay $72 for a hunting and fishing license.
Oh, really?
And so if they could offer up a discount, why not?
So you paid that much as a resident of Michigan?
I did. And I think
I lived in Colorado and it was only $48, but it's $48 per animal you want to hunt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you're going elk hunting, you can get an elk tag for $48. Where out-of-staters come in, they pay $489, whether they get one or not.
Yeah, it was. I know we had went and that was a small game in a like deer license, the large game, and you're fishing for every year.
Yeah.
And if you bought it all at once, which was the cheapest way of doing it, yeah, it was like $72 a year.
Now, one thing that I looked down there at the bottom for the additional benefits was the military family relief assistance offers emergency financial assistance up to $3,500 for eligible service members and their families. So I guess that's for active duty.
I would read it to say, because if it says eligible service members, that typically means the active duty, like if they needed emergency leave or something, but might be wrong.
But for the blind veteran pension and amputee and paralyzed veterans, you get a monthly pension from the state of $150 for qualifying conditions. There's always that little clause.
They've got to have some sort of a red tape somewhere.
They got to.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Pennsylvania for you. If you live up in Pennsylvania, that's what you get from your state. All right. So there we go. Let's move on. Let's move down south to the great state of Georgia. Okay. So Georgia has educational benefit. They have a lot of educational benefits. They have veterans and their dependents can qualify for resident tuition rates under certain conditions. There's that red tape. College credit for military experience in their colleges. Waivers for mandatory fees. Combat veterans may be eligible for waivers of mandatory fees at university systems within Georgia. There's the Georgia Hero Scholarship, offers tuition assistance for members of the Georgia National Guard and their dependents. So if you get out of the military and you go into the National Guard in your state, a lot of states have a good education benefit. So they put you through college and stuff. So, yeah. For employment, veterans hiring preference for the state, you get pushed ahead of people. Business certificate exemptions, qualifying veterans can receive exemption from certain taxes and fees for conducting or starting a business or a profession. In the area of housing and benefits, there is the Georgia Dream Loan, provides down payment assistance. If you ever seen the closing cost and the down payment for when you buy a place, it's usually about 20%, unless you go and you get a VA certificate, and then you don't have to put anything down. But that'll be on for another show for that. Recreational benefits for Georgia, state park discounts. 25% discount for veterans, free full privilege sportsman's license. So I guess that's their hunting and fishing license altogether.
It is.
And usually that's for small game and stuff like that. And then you have to buy your other tags and stuff like that. So it's their sportsman license, eligible for 1 year free. Oh, 1 year free. Unless that's every year, I don't know. So you got to figure that one out. Additional benefits, tax exempt veterans may be eligible for property tax exemption, income tax benefits, and vehicle tax exemption. Free driver's license and ID cards in the state. Veterans license plates for veteran designated license plates, some of which is free, and burial benefits. Qualified veterans and their dependents have access to the state veterans cemetery. So there you go. So yeah, you can see it's getting a little bit more each time we go up, and that's how they rated them. So that's Georgia for you. If you live in Georgia, please check out the link in our description, and you can check on that state a little bit in depth. All right. So the next one, man, we're just like cruising back and forth.
We are. So where is number 8? Where I'm actually New York.
Big city of dreams. See, when everybody thinks about New York, they just think New York City. That is a beautiful, beautiful state. Okay. All the sewage goes down there, okay, towards the Statue of Liberty in that big conglomeration they call New York City. If you're from New York, I apologize, but the truth's the truth.
No, and I think actually just about anybody that I ever met that was from New York, they all are like way upstate.
Yeah.
And, like I remember, I think the first time I met a guy that he said he was from New York, and he walks in and he's got, Wrangler jeans, cowboy boots. He's driving there, and I'm like, you're not from New York. And he's like, not all of New York is New York City. Like, you got it. And, your brain, I'm like, all right, you're right. I need to think outside the box.
All right.
So housing benefits for New York, they access to home for heroes. And so there's financial assistance to make homes accessible for veterans with disabilities. And that is,
with fixed mortgage rates.
yeah, fixed mortgage rates, lower interest. That veterans with disabilities, I've ran into that with other states and other benefits. And honestly, if when you get onto that program, so we might retire right away and we're fine. We can walk around, we can do everything, but then an accident comes along or something makes us disabled to where maybe you're in a wheelchair. You could go through that program and they're going to come revamp your house, maybe put a ramp on.
Yeah.
And normally it is all other veteran volunteers helping come build it.
Yep.
So for income taxes, the active duty military pay is tax-free. And retired pay are also tax-free in New York. So, and then property tax exemptions are available for veterans based on their military service with additional benefits for service-connected disabilities. And here I think is a really good one, and it ties into last week, is a spouse unemployment benefit. It's available for the military spouses who quit their jobs due to their spouse's military transfer.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big one considering, the veteran retired, but if you don't want to stay in that area and go somewhere else, now your spouse has to find a job.
Yeah.
And that could help.
So that's kind of like because I work for the government still as a civilian. And there is a congressional mandate, and it's called the Spouse Preference Employment Act. And if you're married to a service member and they move every 2-3 years in most cases, and you have to start all over again, you can, as a spouse, you can start your career working for the government while your husband or your wife is serving at that duty station, and you are pushed to the front of the line. And what Congress did was, because you keep moving, you shouldn't put your career on hold. And so the way it reads is, if you are basically trained in that field, you move to the front of the line. We have to hire you. If we say, well, they don't qualify, I mean, it is like you have to do a term paper on why the person doesn't qualify for that job. So let's say it's in the finance department on your base, okay? And it's a GS position. And you've worked at a bank before. Let's say you were a loan officer or whatever. Boom, you move to the front, and we have to hire you in front of everybody. And that's something that Congress came up with and it's really a combat multiplier, if you will, because why stay in if your wife never can get a job at a base, or if she wants to work or he wants to work. But this came into being as a re-up type incentive that, when you leave there, your wife can get a job. It may not be the same job, but she gets retirement time every time she does that. And they'll put her on leave without pay, so you don't have a break in service until they find one. And they can do that up to 1 year leave without pay, and you don't lose your years of service. So just wanted people to understand that. If you've got a daughter or a son marrying a soldier or a Marine, that benefit's there, and they move to the front of the line. They move in front of me and you as service members, that's been retired. So there you go. So that's a good program in New York.
Right. So veterans tuition awards. So for the actual veteran, full or part-time study at eligible schools for honorably discharged New York resident wartime veterans. So
Yeah.
they did put a little caveat in there. And then the Regents Awards for children of deceased and disabled veterans. It offers up to $450 per year to dependents of veterans who served in wartime, and either died as a result or have a 40% or higher VA disability rating. So,
Okay.
with the price of college, I mean, $450, I should be able to get a couple books or something, right?
Yeah. A book.
Probably a book. I don't know. I'll be first to tell you. Don't ask me about no college stuff because I never went. And then, so the for employment, it has the standard civil service credit preference.
Yeah.
And then the Veterans with Disabilities Employment Program. So it allows veterans with a VA disability rating of 20% or at least 20% to apply for state jobs without an exam.
Oh, wow. So you don't have to take the civil service exam.
No.
Oh, wow.
And that's pretty, because I mean 20%, that's a pretty low rating, for anybody that, came out and is getting VA benefits. So for it to start that low, I'm pretty impressed. And then the recreational benefits. Let's see. The low cost licenses for New York resident veterans with a 40% or greater disability rating. And the state park admission. Wartime veterans with a 40% or greater disability are eligible for a lifetime Liberty Pass, which provides free vehicle entry to state parks and other benefits.
Yes.
Nice. And that's also, I think 40% is for them to be able to to receive a benefit. That's awesome. That's a really,
yeah. It's usually
really
cut off.
good
It's
setting.
usually 16%.
Yeah, a lot of
in
states.
most cases.
Yeah, a lot of states, they don't even count your veteran disability for anything unless you're like 60 or above. So
Yeah.
That's
Hey, what was that? The National Park Pass. You can go to any national park if you're a veteran. Make sure you take your DD 214 with you. You can go in there, and if you have that and there's a disability, and I know I got mine at 60. I don't really off the top of my head remember what it was. And we were going up to Yellowstone, and to get into Yellowstone is expensive. Okay. I know Grand Canyon, when we went, it was $28 a vehicle. And then Yellowstone was some ungodly amount of money. But I stopped off at right before the Grand Tetons in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And they had this museum, wildlife museum and stuff like that for Yellowstone. We went in there and I was talking to this one guy. We were just yapping and I said, yeah, we're going over to Korea. He goes, oh, you're in the military? I go like this. I said, no, I'm not in the military. I said, I'm a civilian, but I'm retired from the military. He goes, oh, what is your he said service connected disability. I said 60%. He goes, you don't happen to have your 214 with you? I said, yeah, it's out in the car in my briefcase because we were PCS and changed the station. And I went out there and got it. He filled out the paperwork, gave me a paper copy. Was it a paper copy he gave me? No, they gave me the card right there in the office. And I went up there and I showed that at Yellowstone. They go, come on in. I said, dang.
well,
and that gets you into all the national parks, everything. Grand Canyon. I mean, if it's a national park or museum or anything like that, you show that card, you're in.
Yeah, I actually found out about it 2 years ago when we went down to Corpus Christi.
Yeah,
and we went to go to Padre Island, which I didn't realize until we were driving up to the gate it's a national park.
Yeah.
And we got to the gate and they had a little sign. I didn't happen to see it, but Tara did, and said, hey, veteran discounts or whatever. So I'd asked at the window and they're like, hey, do you have a veteran ID? And I'm like, yeah, I've got my retired ID. So I showed it to them, and I don't think we filled any paperwork out. They just took my ID and did whatever they needed to in the little shack there, and then said, here you go, here's your national park pass. Now it's only good for a year, so you have to renew it. Whenever you go get it, you get 1 year from that time, so you have to renew it every year, but it's still free. So
Oh, mine doesn't have an expiration date on it.
Oh, really?
Mine doesn't.
Oh, and maybe if you go into a certain place, it won't, or maybe they changed that, because like I said, this was only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe they had changed it since you got yours. But
back in the olden days when the service member, I'm grandfathered in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to. I'm trying to read these. We're going to go to North Kakalaki.
No,
North Carolina. So North Carolina, starting off with education benefits, has a scholarship for children of wartime veterans. Okay, they offer financial assistance up to 8 academic semesters, 8 semesters for children of certain categories of deceased, disabled, or combat veterans in the North Carolina state schools. Tuition benefits for out-of-state GI Bill users, qualifying spouses and children of active duty service members may be eligible for in-state tuition without meeting the 12-month residency if they're using their husband's GI Bill. And a lot of people don't understand that they passed a law that if, let's say, well, I was in the military, I got my degree in whatever, basket weaving or whatever. And so my kid's going to college, they come in, how am I going to pay for that? Well, now the soldier or veteran can say, because you got 12 years to use your GI Bill once you leave the service. You have 12 years to use it. So let's just say, hey, I'm working for the government. I'm not going to go to college. My daughter really wants to go to college. I can use my GI Bill. She gets the same amount of money that I do and all the benefits, and she gets to go to college using your GI Bill. Your spouse can use your GI Bill also. So something to think about.
The only thing, and I guess I want to question on that, because I was still active duty when they implemented that program.
Yeah.
It went from being not the GI Bill to what they call the post 9/11 GI Bill.
Right.
As I understood it then, because I remember I got hosed, you had to switch it from being a GI Bill to the post 9/11 GI Bill to make it eligible for your spouse or children to use it.
So here's what they did way back when. They had the GI Bill. And then they did away with the GI Bill when I came in the service, and they did dollar for dollar. And then they got rid of that. If you had $1 in there in your account as a service member, you were eligible to take that money and put it into the new Montgomery GI Bill. All right. And then when you had the Montgomery GI Bill and you hadn't used it yet, because when you come in, I think it's a certain amount of money per month for 12 months to get the
$100 a month.
GI Bill. $1,200?
It's $1,200 a year. So it's $100 a month comes out.
Yeah. So you did that. And if you hadn't used it or anything, then you got to transfer that into the post 9/11 GI Bill. So you always had to have an active account so you could move it forward. You know what I mean?
I want to look into it, because if that's an option, I mean, I still have some kids that are, college age.
Yeah, you got 12 years to use it.
Yeah, because they had told me, like, how it was explained while I was still on active duty was, in order to transfer it from the Montgomery GI Bill to the post 9/11, was you basically had to do it at the same time that you were enlisted, because you had to be able to your contract, for whatever reason, you had to be able to have 4 years left on your contract to transfer that.
Right.
You submit it. Well, I did that, I think, during my last re-enlistment, because I was like, I'm never going to use the GI Bill. Like, even if I get out, I have no intentions of ever going to college. I don't want to do anything. And my re-enlistment got approved really quickly, and they didn't have time to process the post 9/11 transfer. So I actually was never able to switch it to the post 9/11.
Right.
But I'd be interested if they actually did change it to where it's ineligible, because without it being transferred, then it basically means that, I paid that $1,200 that first year, and unless for some reason I wanted to use it, it's donated to the cause somewhere.
And that's something, if questions like that, serious questions like that, that's what the DAV is there for. They'll find you the answer because they've got the connections. All right. So for employment for North Carolina, the government has a hiring preference for veterans. They have a professional licensing credit and military experience for state licenses. Like if you were a welder in the military, you can transfer that over as a state welding license, be certified within the state and stuff like that. Housing benefits, they have a home advantage mortgage program for first-time home buyers, including veterans, which can combine with their mortgage credit certificate that you get from the VA. Veterans assistance care and nursing homes within the state. And it looks like there is 1, 2, 3, 4 veterans home within the state of North Carolina. Financial benefits, retirement income, tax breaks for veterans, service members with credible service by August 12th, 1989 may be exempt from the state income tax on their military retirement. They have a disabled veteran property tax exclusion. In the state offers a property tax break for primary residents to honorably discharge veterans with a VA rating. And it didn't say an amount, just a VA rating. Additional benefits is legal assistance for veterans claims, state veterans cemetery burial in 6 of the state cemeteries, and license plates and IDs free or at reduced cost in the state of North Kakalaki.
Yeah. And North Carolina has a lot of military bases spread throughout the entire
They have a lot of retirees in North Carolina.
Well, there's a lot. I honestly, that's where I thought I was going to retire, because I spent 12 and a half years of my Marine Corps career in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so I really thought that when I retired that's where I would be, and things changed. So I went back to Michigan, and of course now I'm in Arkansas, but it's a beautiful state. I mean, you could be at the ocean and the mountains all in the same day. So
yeah. All right. So that was North Carolina. Number 6 on our list. And this place is for lovers. It's the original places for lovers. And that is Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah.
All right. So their housing and financial benefits would be the real property tax exemption. Virginia provides a complete property tax exemption for eligible disabled veterans or their surviving spouses, applicable to the primary residence and up to 1 acre of land. So a sales and use tax exemption, disabled veterans with a service connected of 100% are eligible for a sales and use tax exemption on the purchase of 1 vehicle. Well, the price of vehicles right now, that could be a pretty good tax break.
Yeah.
Education, Virginia National Guard Tuition Assistance Program. offers up to $7,000 per fiscal year toward 1 degree or credential at each level up to a doctorate. Okay. Oh, that's for service members of the Virginia National Guard.
Okay.
So if you got out of active duty or something and went National Guard, once again, another great benefit of, but the military, so they also have a military survivors and dependents education program, which will provide educational financial assistance for spouses, surviving spouses, and children of certain service members and disabled vets, covering all tuition and mandatory fees for 8 semesters at a Virginia public college or university.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Like, as I'm reading through it, I'm like, okay, this is a standard. But then when it talks about all tuition and mandatory fees,
that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yes.
Employment support. So Virginia Veteran and Family Support, they offer resources, care coordination, and supportive services to Virginia's veterans. Their National Guard, Armed Force Reserves, family members, and caregivers, with a focus on challenges resulting from stress-related conditions or traumatic brain injuries connected to military service.
Yep.
And then their recreational benefits. So hunting, fishing, and trapping license. Disabled veterans eligible for a free permanent license, and active duty and reserve component service members on active duty. So if you're on leave, I guess as long as you're on active duty for 120 or more consecutive days, qualify for free 1-year fishing, hunting, or combination licenses.
All right.
And a Green Mountain Passport lifetime pass. Resident veterans who received an honorable discharge are eligible for a $2 lifetime Green Mountain Passport, authorizing free day entry at Vermont state parks, historic sites, and fully state-sponsored events.
Yeah, there's a lot of sites in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also another state that's there's a lot of veterans there, but there's also quite a few. I mean, being on the coast, a lot. That's, I think, where like some of the main hubs for the Navy are. So additional services, they have veteran care centers. They operate multiple care centers, providing a range of medical services. And then Veterans Services Foundation supports veterans and their families through programs and services not covered by state or federal funds.
Yep.
So they still run a program, even if the state or federal, they have some to help run through some of those extra. That's pretty impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it and you kind of compare it to some of the things that we think about every day is what would cause us to join. But then, I mean, I'm still shocked at the military survivor and dependents education program. Like that could be big.
All right. Now we're going to the land of Lincoln, Illinois. So Illinois, they have a financial benefits program, income tax exempt, active duty, National Guard, reserve, retired pay, survivors benefit program, SBP. Payments are not subject to tax or state income tax, excuse me. Bonus payments, Illinois provides $100 bonus for service during specific conflict periods, including Korean, Vietnam, Persian Gulf, and the global war on terrorism, with certain eligibility criteria and residency. Housing benefits in Illinois, specially adapted housing tax exempt, offers up to $100,000 reduction in property value for taxation purposes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Veterans homes in Illinois, they have several veterans home and eligible for Illinois residency if you serve during wartime and other specific criteria. Education and benefits in Illinois. Illinois Veteran Grant covers tuition and certain fees for Illinois state-supported colleges, universities, and community colleges for eligible veterans. Troops to Teachers program. That's what I did. And that's for another show. Okay. Troops to Teachers program offers resource and financial aid for veterans tuitioning to a career in the public school teaching. Yeah. That's where I got my PTSD. I taught high school for one semester and I quit because I don't like other people's children at the high school age level. So that's for another show. Employment benefits, veterans employment preference, honorable discharge veterans receive preference in state jobs, hiring, and additional benefits for those specific service medals or other transitioning from military to police or firefighter roles. State Jobs for Vets program provides training and job placement assistance through the Illinois Department of Employment Securities. Healthcare benefits, Illinois Warrior Assistant Program offers 24-hour helpline for a service member dealing with PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, and symptoms. Veterans Care Program provides comprehensive health care coverage for uninsured Illinois veterans. So that means you may not be getting, I guess if you're a veteran and later on you need health care because you didn't have any disability or whatever like that, and they'll pick that up for you. Recreational benefits, camping and admission fees, exemptions for Illinois veterans at state parks, matching the time spent in the service or abroad or mobilized. So they're just matching whatever you put in and then it's over with. Hunting and fishing license, no requirement for disabled veterans receiving 10% or greater service-connected compensation or total disability pension. So that's 10% you get hunting and fishing in the state of Illinois.
Wow.
So, yeah. All right. So the next one is the Silver State, Nevada. There you go. Don't they have beautiful signs in Nevada? Like, what the heck?
I think it's one of those you drive in and they're like, you're so blinded by so much sun that they're like,
hey, let's save money. Let's put up the most boring sign.
Yeah.
All right, Parker.
So let's see. They have veterans homes. So Boulder City and Sparks, they offer veteran homes for the care of the veterans, their spouses, and Gold Star parents. Okay, they're stepping it up right there. And a veterans tax exemption. An annual tax exemption is available for veterans with wartime service, which can be applied to vehicle privilege tax or real property tax. So they must have a bunch of additional taxes they're going to give you a break on out there. Yeah. And then a disabled veteran tax exemption provides a property tax exemption for honorably discharged residents with a service-connected disability of 60% or more. Education, let's see, a non-resident tuition exemption. I know that's makes it honorably discharged veterans are exempt from non-resident tuition rates if they matriculate within 2 years of discharge.
Okay.
I don't know what matriculate means.
It's a word they use in Nevada.
Evidently.
Honey, what does that mean? She don't know.
Never heard of it. So Nevada National Guard fee waiver. Active members of the Nevada National Guard, their dependent children, and qualifying spouses are eligible for a registration fee waiver for higher education.
Oh, wow.
Okay. see, employment. Nevada state hiring preference for veterans. So veterans, members of the Nevada Guard, and surviving spouses receive preference points added to the state employment exams. And then recreational. Discounted licenses are available for veterans with a service-connected disability of 50% or more. And active duty members stationed in Nevada can acquire these licenses at resident rates.
Yeah.
State park admission. Honorably discharged Nevada veterans with a permanent disability of 10% or more receive a pass for free entrance to all state parks. So kind of nice in the fact they only need 10% disability rating and they get a free. And then you get a free cemetery plot and services for veterans with a small fee for spouse or dependent burials.
Yeah.
So they allow the spouse or dependents to be there too.
Yes.
Wow. Something you don't normally think about, but like a lot of the veteran cemeteries, it's the veterans themselves, and then the families have to get
Fend for
buried
themselves.
Right. You're like, hey, this is only good for our land. You go find your own somewhere.
That's right. Hey, so now we're getting into the top three. Oh, three. I went like that. There was four.
Numbers are harder than words.
Yeah. All right. This time we're going to go up to the great state of Alaska.
Holy man.
All right. They have the best state signs when you go in there. All right. Alaska provides housing benefits. Alaskan veterans and pioneer homes offer assisted living for veterans 65 or older who require such care. So I guess that's their veteran home program. Veterans land discount purchase preference provides a chance to purchase unoccupied residential land through a restricted sale at fair appraised market value, including a 20% discount for veteran qualifiers. Veterans Mortgage Program Administration by the Alaska Housing Finance Corps. It offers financing to qualified veterans at a low interest rate with little or no down payment. Employment benefits, hiring preference. If you're looking for a job and stuff like that, qualified for priority service through the Alaska Department of Labor and Workforce Development, including job search assistance and employment counseling. State employment preference, you can receive up to 5% on your exam score if you have 10% or more of disability. Education's benefit, tuition waiver. Surviving spouse dependent of deceased veterans may qualify for a waiver on undergraduate tuition and fees at the University of Alaska. National Guard may also be eligible for a 100% tuition assistance if you're in the Alaska National Guard. Recreational benefits. State park access. Disabled veterans are eligible for free state park and camping passes, valid for 2 years in all developed state park campgrounds. Hunting and fishing license. 50% disabled in an honorable discharge can obtain a free hunting and fishing license. Active duty military that are living in the state can get it at the resident cost. Additional benefits, property tax exemption. Veterans with 50% or greater VA or military disabled rating are exempt from taxes on the first $150,000 of assessed value of their home. Death gratuity, a death gratuity of $750 is granted to the veteran. So there you go. Yeah, getting that tax exempt on $150,000 of your home's purchase, of your home's estimated value, that's pretty substantial.
Yeah,
I don't know what houses and stuff like that go for up there, but
well, that's what I was gonna say is I would be curious at what home values on average are up there. I mean, obviously, I'm sure if you live like in one of the major cities, their home values are probably much higher than if you lived more
sure,
rural like AK Bill or something.
yeah,
But that could make a big difference. And I'm curious with and I guess something, guys, if obviously most of you looking into this, what caught my eye was like the disabled veterans with at least 50% for the hunting license. You get a free hunting and sport fishing license.
yeah.
And I'm like, but I wonder if it's kind of, where do you have to be a resident for so long? So some of these that we're saying tonight, guys, they do fall within the state's, residency requirements.
Right.
Sometimes you got to be a resident for a year and show proof, whether it's a driver's license or something like that, hey, I've lived here for a year to qualify for that. But that might be something to look into. Like if it doesn't have a residency requirement, to be able to do that and you're up visiting, that'd be worth a visit.
That is absolutely correct there, Scott. Mike and Terry don't do cold. No. All right, number 2. Coming in at number two.
We kind of go polar opposites, don't we?
Yeah. The Sunshine State, Florida, comes in at number 2.
So let's see. It says, and I just got to call it out because I remember taking a trip to Florida not too long ago, and it said the Sunshine State, and I don't think I seen the sun until like a few hours before we were actually leaving Florida.
There you go.
So veteran homes, they have 6 veterans nursing homes and 1 assisted living facility across the state. Eligibility includes an honorable discharge, Florida residency for 1 year before admission, and a need for nursing home care certified by a VA physician.
There you go.
Property tax, various property tax exemptions are available, including for disabled veterans, homestead exemption for 100% permanently totally disabled veterans, and exemptions for the surviving spouse or service members who died from service-connected causes.
There you go.
And no state income tax, so you don't have to pay.
That's for everybody.
Yeah. And education. So Florida waives out-of-state tuition fees for veterans and offers scholarships for dependents of deceased or disabled veterans. Priority registration is provided to students using the GI Bill at state colleges and universities. And then veterans can earn academic credit for military training and education. And that one right there is kind of big because I was, getting closer and closer to retirement. It was one of those things I actually started to look into just in case for whatever weird reason. Was do you get credit? We do all these classes and courses and all that stuff while we're in, and it actually converts. Maybe not to a full degree, but it converts to a little bit. And a lot of colleges, I think more colleges now than before, are starting to give you those credits. But there's still quite a few colleges that you don't get credit for all that.
I started going to college after I retired in 2000 in the state of Missouri. And the university I went to, Columbia College, they gave me 61 credit hours towards my degree right off the get-go. Right off the get-go.
Wow.
Now, I will tell you that I didn't use most of them towards the degree program I went through, but you got them as total credit hours. Whether it fit into your degree or not, they still gave them to you.
Yeah, I was actually shocked. I mean, I know we're going off a little bit, but I was shocked. One of my old mentors, he retired and came back and was working with me again, but as a civilian. And his wife worked for the college on base. And he had tricked me into a lunch one day. And I went over there and she said, look, let me just show you. Because I'm like, look, I don't have time to start college from scratch. I don't have any previous, college. And she's like, no, watch this. And she went through and like I was over 3/4 of the way of getting a degree with just what I did, as associate's degree, but still like it was 3/4 of the way there. And I'd never done any official college courses. Like she's like, look, you get credit through our school for all of these things that you did. Here's your SMART transcript and stuff. And I was like, and I think I tried it for about 2 weeks and I'm like, college ain't for me. And I canceled out of it.
Yeah.
All right. So Florida's occupational license and business fee waivers. So Florida offers waivers for various fees, including occupational licenses for veterans, spouses, and in some cases, fee waivers for veteran-owned businesses.
Yeah.
And they have the veterans employment preference. Recreational. State park admission. Discount on annual passes to state parks for all honorably discharged veterans, and free passes for those with service-connected disabilities. Reduced fees of free hunting and fishing licenses are also available for certain veterans. Okay. And additional benefits. Let's see. Driver's license and ID cards. Special veteran designations on driver's license and state ID cards, along with no fee licenses for 100% disabled vets. And Florida has established veterans courts to address specific issues. And while the state itself doesn't extend burial benefits, national cemeteries within Florida are available for veterans.
There you go.
Nice.
Always good to be buried for free because it's expensive.
And I like the idea.
Dying is easy. Getting buried is expensive.
Yeah, and you don't even have to worry about it because you're not around for it. But maybe you take that burden with you into the after.
Yeah.
I like with the Florida on the driver's license, getting the designation on your driver's license. I didn't understand it at first because Arkansas does the same thing.
Yeah.
But instead of having to fumble through the wallet, if you don't have like your retired ID or maybe your VA ID, you can just pull that out and they can verify that you have veteran discount for this or that. Or
yeah.
All
right.
So
here we go. We're going to move on to the number one state to live in on your benefits if you are a veteran. Okay. And I will tell you, I was not surprised. Welcome to Texas.
Good old Tejas.
So educational benefits for Texas. They have the Hazelwood Act provides 150 hours of tuition exemption at state schools for veterans or spouses and dependent children who meet certain residency and service requirements. Then they have the Legacy Act, allows veterans to assign unused Hazelwood Act hours to their children under certain conditions. Then they got the housing veterans home. Texas has 9 veterans home that your spouse can put you in if she's tired of you and you're old and crusty across the state, offering long-term care for veterans, their spouses, and Gold Star parents with cost based on income. Disabled veterans property tax exemption provides a total property tax exemption for 100% disabled veteran and their surviving spouse, with scaled benefits for veterans between 10% and 90%.
Wow.
Okay. So everybody gets a benefit.
Nice.
Veterans Home Loan and Home Improvement Program. The Texas Veterans Land Board offers below market interest rates for home and land loans, as well as home improvement loans for eligible veterans. Employment and training services. Veterans preference in employment. Texas provides employment preference to wartime veterans, widows, and children of those killed on active duty, ensuring veterans are considered and veterans are considered for all jobs. Veterans Entrepreneur Program assists veterans with starting a business plan, financing, marketing, and other aspects of business management. Recreational benefits, and this is the one I love. Hunting and fishing for disabled veterans and active duty military in the state is free or at a discounted license. And that's specific animals like a bear tag or a mountain lion tag or your federal duck stamp and stuff like that. State park admission offers free admission to Texas state parks for veterans with a 60% or greater disability. Veteran cemeteries. Texas maintains 4 state cemeteries, provides burial service for veterans and their eligible family members at no charge to the veteran. Okay, so those are huge. And I will tell you something. If you are a veteran, okay, and for example, I went down to Pinecone Fest and stopped off at the Walmart in Paris, Texas. Went in there and said, I'd like to get a fishing license for the state. Terry got hers first and she paid $56, all right, for just a fishing license. And then I gave them my ID and they go, it says I can't sell you a fishing license. He goes, have you been arrested or got in trouble in the state of Texas? I said, no. So he called his boss. A guy came up there and he said, he goes, are you a veteran? I said, yeah. Gave my social security number, punches it in there. And all of a sudden, this tape of hunting and fishing licenses started coming out of there. I said, whoa. I just want a fishing license. He goes, you get it all. You're in the VA system, and Texas is connected, their hunting and fishing program in the state is connected to the VA computer. And if you're in there anywhere in the United States and you go to Texas, go to a Walmart and go deer hunting. Dude, I can kill 12 deer in the state of Texas and I don't pay a dime.
And so that's for non-resident, right? Like,
there's nothing. You just get it for free.
Really?
You can be a non-resident. I don't care. You could be living in the Philippines and you came to Texas on vacation and you're in the VA system, you get it all for free.
And when I was in Corpus Christi, there was a couple, other guys that we had met we stayed on base in Corpus Christi at the campground. Yeah. And there was a couple people talking about that. Of course, that was a trip that we left and I didn't bring not one fishing pole, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Because I know that in most states, your non-resident is just ridiculous. And I'm like, for a few days, it's not worth fishing. I'm not gonna, but it seems like somebody had told me that. They're like, no, if you're a veteran, you can go down. And so you can guarantee next time I go to Texas and I'm there for any time, I'm going to get all the free licenses.
So I'm going to tell you something. I've got 4 buck tag whitetail, 4 mule deer buck tags, and then I got 4. And then I got 2 non-antlered whitetail and 2 non-antlered mule deer. And then I got 4 turkey tags. And then I got freshwater fishing. Then I got saltwater fishing. And I didn't pay 1 dime for that whole thing. And they said that is standard for people in the VA system for the state of Texas. Wow. I said, man, Terry looked at me and she goes, when are we moving? I said, babe, you still got to pay $56.
Right.
But yeah,
I was shocked. If you only have to pay that for one, you know what I mean? Like if you both want to go and you can get, 1 non-resident for your spouse, obviously.
It's still worth it. Yeah.
That's still a lot of money saved.
Yeah. So hey guys, that is our show for tonight. I hope you guys got some information out of there. If you go into the the description below, we left the link in there to where we got all this information. If we didn't talk about your state, go in there and check out your state. If you're a veteran or you know a veteran that live in your state, or you have relatives that are veterans somewhere else, make sure they're getting the information so they can get those benefits for the service to their country that they deserve. Next week, we are going to have a open mic night. And what we would like you guys to do, because next week you're going to be in Tennessee, it's going to be hard to plan stuff and things like that because you're going to be pretty busy. Your time is going to be valuable while you're there. So think about what you want to tell us. Okay. What we want to know is we want you to give us a synopsis of your military service. You know, what branch you went into, what was your MOS, places you've been stationed at, and stuff like that, and why you joined the military. Okay. And then when did you get out and stuff like that. So if you put that together and you can come up here and you can tell us all that information, we'd love to have you and talk to you. It's the first time that we've had an open mic. And so that's what we're going to do next week. We'll get to the part 2 of this, which is our Jason and I's military transition to civilian life once Jason gets back, and we'll do that. So we'll probably do that, and then we're at 10 Killer. We'll do a live so you guys can meet everybody at 10 Killer and stuff like that. Everybody's going to be going live anyway. So, hey, we'll just be one of many channels
right
live down there. Yeah. So, guys, hey, and if you go to 10 Killer, you may get a Sergeant's Talk TV coffee mug. Okay. You might get a coffee mug. You guys know I'm one that gives out MT Homestead mugs, but you might get a Sergeant's Talk TV coffee mug if you come down there. And I may throw in a shirt or two in the giveaway. So there you go.
Look at this guy, Big Mike, just handing it all out.
That's right. Hey, and I'm going to mail your shirt for you tomorrow. All right. I'm going to mail it. The place opens at 10 o'clock. I'm going to be standing there with bells on. I said, make sure this gets there quick. So you have something to wear when you're in Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for coming in here. I hope you guys learned something. If you learned something, hey, tell your friends about us. If you know a veteran, tell them to come in here. And hey, in the comments, hey, give us subject areas if you want to know something, and we'll look into it, and we'll send that out to you guys on one of our next shows. Guys, I'm going to speak for myself. Love you guys. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.
Love you guys. See ya.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming in. And hit that thumbs up.
Wait, 1, 2, 7.